There are no public events on the campaign calendar this Christmas Eve. Truly rare, one of the few such nights in the next 10 months before the election. Tonight, though, senior national correspondent John Roberts continues his study of the candidates, their positions on the major issues, and tonight, it's all about jobs and the economy.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created, I tell you.
In every election cycle, every presidential candidate promises to grow the economy and create jobs.
If I am elected president, we will bring back jobs and growth and opportunity.
The top Republican candidates for 2016 are no different than their predecessors. But how would they make good on their promises?
As president, helping the economy move forward begins by recognizing that presidents don't create jobs. Governors don't create jobs. Senators don't create jobs. Jobs are created by the private sector.
One way the candidates are pledging to inspire the private sector, all are proposing dramatic reforms to the tax code. But there are some stark differences in what they do. Donald Trump would lower the top personal tax bracket to 25%, Jeb Bush 28%, and Marco Rubio 35%. Ted Cruz and Ben Carson favor flat taxes, Cruz 10%, Carson 15%. Trump would lower the corporate tax rate to 15%, Bush 20%, Rubio 25%. Cruz would cap it at 16%, while Carson favors the 15% flat tax. On repatriating overseas earnings, Trump would reduce taxes from 35% to 10%, Bush to 8.75%. Rubio would cut even further to 6%. Cruz would levy a 10% tax on overseas earnings, while Carson proposes a 6-month tax holiday if corporations spend 10% of that money on creating jobs.
It would be the biggest stimulus since FDR's New Deal, and it wouldn't cost the taxpayers 1 penny.
When it comes to the so-called death tax, all the candidates would eliminate the tax on estates. But there are some big differences in deductions. Trump would keep the mortgage interest deduction as is. Bush would cap it at 2% of adjusted gross income. Rubio would leave it alone. Cruz would cap it at $500,000 in principal, while Carson would eliminate it altogether. On abolishing the IRS, Cruz is the only top candidate to definitively say he'd do it, though Carson says under his plan there'd be no need for the IRS. Reforming the tax code, the candidates insist, would make the U.S. more competitive globally. But the other piece, they say, is the need to reform tens of thousands of regulations that increase the cost of doing business.
If we continue to raise the cost of doing business in America, you will see less jobs created, you will see wages remain stagnant, and you will see millions of Americans continue to be left behind.
Taken together, the candidates insist the changes will naturally create jobs and increase wages. Nearly all reject federal mandates to raise the minimum wage, except Carson, who has said it probably should be higher than now. There is one economic issue where Trump stands above the other candidates: American jobs moving overseas.
I refuse to eat Oreos anymore. They're moving their plant to Mexico.
Trump promises he'd get tough with CEOs who want to ship jobs out of the country, citing Ford's plans to build a plant in Mexico.
If you do it, you're not going to have any cars coming across the border unless you pay a 35% tax. That's it.
The candidates all say there needs to be a national focus on reforming education to better equip Americans for the jobs of tomorrow. But they all agree that the federal government should play no role in dictating curriculum or standards. In Atlanta, John Roberts, Fox News.